stories going all the way back to the 1600s about visitors from the moon. And you continue to see stories like that trip to the moon type of stories show up really frequently throughout the 17th, 18th, and 19th century until we get to that point where the telescopes get good enough to tell us that there aren't any people on the moon. That's when we shift to Mars.
This Italian astronomer, Schiaparelli, pointed his telescope at Mars and was drawing what he saw. And in particular, he drew these sort of lines that he called canali, which means a channel, like a natural forming channel. But that got mistranslated and misunderstood as canals. Recently, the Suez Canal had been completed, so people thought, oh, these are artificial canals. There's signs of a civilization there. The story was really picked up by an American businessman and astronomer, Percival Lowell. And Lowell really promoted this idea that there are these other people out there like us trying to live, trying to survive, trying to make their way.
We really retain that kind of romantic image of Mars through the 1950s. We have an adventurer from Earth who's magically whisked away onto Mars, and it's cool. He can breathe. He can date the Martian princesses. And there's a whole races of beings there he can get along with.
And then Mariner 4, the orbiter, went to Mars in 1965.
The figures cascade to the Earth from the spacecraft. Some workers decide to hand-make their own picture of Mars by shading the numbers.
Mariner 4 shows no canals, no Martians. That delivered this temporary death blow to people's excitement about Mars.
What was once improbable is now inevitable. A journey to another planet, a manned mission to Mars.
After the Martian space race was rechristened by President Bush, you start to see an upswing in Martian storytelling again. But the big thing you start to see in stories from the 1980s and 90s and aughts is the fact that we're going to have to work really hard to colonize the planet, that it's not a habitable planet, that we're really going to have to bring a lot of technology and personnel expertise to bear.
As we go through all of these, we don't lose the past. You'll see that mix of scientifically plausible speculation and just raw fantasy, all of them kind of getting melded together to fit the individual project.